The merchant's facade captain, Elena Vasquez, stood on the bridge of the merchant vessel, Peaceful Dawn, watching the massive alien space station grow larger on the view screen. The structure was impressive, built from dark metal that seemed to absorb light itself. Weapon platforms jutted out from every surface like the spines of some cosmic beast. This was Korthak Prime Station, the heart of the Korthak Empire's trading network. "Captain, we're receiving their docking instructions," reported Communications Officer Janet Wong from her station. Her fingers danced across the console as she translated the alien signals. "They want us to power down all systems except life support before we approach." Elena nodded calmly. "Do as they ask, Janet. We don't want to appear threatening." She adjusted her simple merchant's uniform, making sure the fabric looked appropriately worn and patched. Everything about their appearance had to suggest they were nothing more than struggling traders from a backwater world. Chief Engineer Roberto Santos looked up from his console. "All weapon systems are properly hidden, Captain. Our military-grade engines are running at 15% capacity to match the performance profile of civilian drives. Even their best scanners will only detect what we want them to see." "Excellent work, Roberto." Elena's voice carried the authority of someone who had commanded starships for over 20 years, though the aliens would never know that. To them, she was just another desperate human trying to make a living hauling cargo between worlds. The Peaceful Dawn approached the docking bay slowly, its hull showing the carefully manufactured wear patterns that suggested years of civilian use. Inside, however, the ship was a masterpiece of military engineering. Hidden behind false bulkheads were weapon systems capable of destroying entire fleets. The crew of 30 appeared to be civilian traders, but each was actually a highly trained military specialist. As they docked, Elena reviewed the intelligence reports one more time. The Korthak Empire controlled over 400 star systems across this sector of the galaxy. They were known for their aggressive expansion and their contempt for species they considered inferior. Their military doctrine was based on overwhelming force and brutal subjugation. They had never encountered organized resistance from any species they had contacted. That was about to change, but not yet. For now, humanity would play the role of harmless merchants. Trade Minister ZFK was waiting for them in the docking bay. The Korthak stood nearly 8 feet tall, with purple skin marked by intricate scarification that indicated his rank within the Empire. His forearms moved constantly as he spoke, a sign of barely contained aggression that his species used to intimidate others. "So you are the humans I've heard about," Zefka said through the universal translator. His voice carried the harsh tones typical of his species. "Your reputation as traders precedes you, though I confess I expected more impressive beings." Elena smiled humbly. "We appreciate the opportunity to trade with the mighty Korthak Empire, Trade Minister. Our people are simple merchants, but we're eager to establish profitable relationships with civilizations as advanced as yours." The alien's eyes studied her carefully. She could see him cataloging what he believed were signs of human weakness. Their smaller stature, their apparently simple technology, their deferential manner. Good. That was exactly what they wanted him to see. "Come, let me show you what we have to offer," Elena continued, gesturing toward their cargo hold. "We've brought rare minerals from our home system, artwork, and some of our finest manufactured goods." As they walked through the ship, Elena played her role perfectly. She pointed out the impressive human technology with the enthusiasm of someone who genuinely believed it was advanced. The Korthak's translator barely kept up with her excited explanations of systems that were actually centuries behind what humanity could really produce. Roberto had done his job well. Every system they could see appeared to be exactly what a peaceful trading vessel would carry. The quantum processors were hidden behind displays that showed simple computer systems. The fusion reactors were disguised as basic power cells. Even their artificial gravity system had been modified to appear less sophisticated than it actually was. "These gravity generators," Zefka observed, "they seem rather primitive. Our warships use artificial gravity systems that are far more efficient." "Oh yes," Elena agreed eagerly. "We've heard about the incredible technology of the Korthak military. Perhaps someday our engineers could learn from your superior knowledge. The trade minister's chest swelled with pride. Perhaps, if your species proves useful to the Empire. Over the next several hours they negotiated the terms of trade. Elena was careful to appear impressed by everything the Korthak showed her, while secretly recording detailed intelligence about their technology, military positions, and strategic weaknesses. Every sensor reading, every casual comment about fleet movements, every boast about military capabilities was being stored in hidden databanks for later analysis. The Korthak were eager to establish trading relationships with humanity, but not for the reasons Elena pretended to believe. She could see it in their eyes, hear it in their unguarded comments. They viewed humans as a resource to be exploited. The Empire was already making plans to slowly take control of human colonies, probably through economic pressure at first, then outright conquest when the humans inevitably proved unable to resist. Your people have many worlds? Zefka asked during one of their sessions. Oh yes, Elena replied with manufactured enthusiasm. We've colonized 47 systems so far, all peaceful settlements, of course. We're not a military species like yourselves. No military? The alien's interest was obvious. How do you protect yourselves? Elena laughed self-consciously. We have some patrol ships for dealing with pirates and such, but nothing that could be called a real military. We've been fortunate to live in a peaceful part of the galaxy. Indeed, very fortunate, Zefka agreed, though his tone suggested he was already calculating how easy it would be to claim those 47 human worlds for the Empire. What the trade minister didn't know was that Elena's ship was one of over 3,000 similar vessels operating throughout the galaxy. Each one appeared to be a harmless merchant ship, but together they formed the most sophisticated intelligence network in galactic history. Every major alien civilization had been infiltrated by these traders, who were actually military reconnaissance specialists. While Elena played her role, Admiral Marcus Chen was coordinating the operation from his command center on Kepler Station, hidden deep in an asteroid field that official records listed as uninhabited. The station was one of hundreds of secret military installations that humanity had been building for the past 50 years. Report from the Peaceful Dawn, announced Intelligence Officer Sarah Kim as she studied the incoming data streams. Captain, Vasquez confirms that the Korthak are planning to begin economic colonization of human settlements within 6 months. Admiral Chen nodded grimly. Marcus had been preparing for this moment for decades. At 65, he had spent his entire career developing humanity's secret military capabilities. The public knew nothing about the true extent of Earth's defenses, and that was exactly how he wanted it. Any signs they suspect our real capabilities? He asked. None, sir. Their scans of our ships show exactly what we want them to see. As far as the Korthak know, humanity is a primitive species with basic technology and no significant military forces. Chen pulled up a holographic display showing the current positions of all their reconnaissance ships. Thousands of vessels were scattered across the galaxy, each one gathering intelligence while maintaining the fiction that humanity was nothing more than a trading civilization. How many alien governments have we fully infiltrated now? 17 major powers, sir, including the Korthak Empire. We have complete intelligence on their military capabilities, strategic positions, and command structures. We also have reconnaissance data on 43 smaller civilizations. The Admiral studied the display with satisfaction. For 50 years, humanity had been preparing for this moment. While they appeared to the galaxy as harmless merchants and explorers, they had actually been building the most advanced military force in known space. The strategy had been born from humanity's first contact with hostile aliens over a century ago. A small alien raiding force had attacked an early human colony, killing thousands before disappearing into space. The survivors' message had been simple: never again. Since then, every human government had secretly contributed to building their hidden military capabilities. While the public saw exploration ships and trading vessels, the reality was that humanity had been preparing for total war from the very beginning. The technology gap was staggering. While species like the Korthak had grown complacent in their dominance, humanity had been innovating constantly. Their weapon systems were centuries ahead of anything else in the galaxy. Their ships were faster, more maneuverable, and equipped with adaptive AI that could outthink any biological commander. But the real advantage was strategic. Every alien civilization believed they knew humanity's capabilities, but they were looking at carefully constructed illusions. When the time came to reveal their true strength, the aliens would face an enemy they had never imagined possible. "Sir," Sarah reported, "we're receiving similar intelligence from all our reconnaissance teams. The pattern is consistent across every alien civilization we've encountered. They all view humanity as primitive and exploitable." Chen smiled coldly. "Perfect. The longer they underestimate us, the more complete our victory will be when we finally act." Back on Korthak Prime Station, Elena was concluding her trading negotiations. The deals they struck were exactly what both sides expected. The Korthak would provide advanced technology in exchange for human resources and raw materials. On the surface, it seemed like a mutually beneficial arrangement. In reality, Elena knew the Korthak were planning to gradually take control of human colonies through economic dependence. They had used the same strategy on dozens of other species, slowly bleeding them dry before absorbing their worlds into the Empire. "It has been a pleasure doing business with you, Captain Vasquez," Zefka said as they prepared to depart. "I look forward to many profitable years of cooperation between our species." "As do we, Trade Minister," Elena replied with a warm smile. "We're honored to have the friendship of the mighty Korthak Empire." As the peaceful dawn undocked from the station, Elena's expression hardened. She had played her role perfectly, but now came the difficult part: maintaining the deception while humanity prepared for what was coming. "Roberto, once we're clear of their sensor range, I want a full analysis of everything we recorded," she ordered. "Janet, transmit all our intelligence to Fleet Command using the quantum relay. Make sure it's encrypted with the new protocols." "Aye, Captain," both officers responded. Elena looked back at the alien station one more time. The Korthak had no idea they had just shown their greatest enemy exactly how to destroy them. Soon they would learn the cost of underestimating humanity. The message she would send to Admiral Chen was simple. The Korthak Empire has revealed their full military capabilities and strategic positions. They plan to begin absorption of human colonies within 6 months. Recommend we prepare to drop the mask. Throughout the galaxy, similar messages were being sent from hundreds of other reconnaissance ships. The time for deception was almost over. Soon the aliens would discover what total war really meant when humanity stopped pretending to be harmless traders. The Peaceful Dawn jumped to hyperspace. Its true destination, a secret military facility, where Elena would brief the war planners on everything she had learned. Behind them, the Korthak celebrated what they believed was the beginning of their absorption of another primitive species. They had no idea they had just sealed their own doom. Total war unleashed. The attack on New Geneva came without warning. The Korthak war fleet dropped out of hyperspace just after dawn, their massive dreadnoughts blotting out the sun as they moved into bombardment position. Trade Minister Zefka stood on the bridge of the flagship Eternal Conquest, watching the human colony through the view screen with cold satisfaction. "Scan the system for defensive positions," he ordered his tactical officer. "Though I doubt these primitives have anything that could threaten us." The tactical display showed exactly what he expected. A few small patrol ships in orbit around the planet, some basic orbital platforms, and what appeared to be a handful of outdated defense satellites. The human colony looked completely helpless. "Sir, we're detecting approximately 40 human vessels in system," the tactical officer reported. "Most appear to be civilian cargo haulers and passenger transports. I'm reading minimal weapons signatures." Zefka's 4 arms gestured dismissively. 40 ships against 300? This will be over quickly. Open a channel to the planetary government." The face that appeared on screen belonged to Governor Maria Santos, a middle-aged human woman who looked appropriately terrified as she stared at the alien fleet. Her voice shook as she spoke. "This is Governor Santos of New Geneva. Why are you attacking us? We have a trade agreement with your empire." "The trade agreement has been renegotiated," Zefka replied with cruel amusement. Your colony now belongs to the Korthak Empire. Surrender immediately, and your people will be allowed to live as workers under our protection. We can't just surrender our world, the governor protested. Our people have built their lives here. Then they will die here, the trade minister said coldly. You have 1 hour to evacuate your orbital installations and surrender your vessels. After that, we begin bombardment. What Zefka didn't see was the subtle smile that crossed Governor Santos's face as she cut the transmission. Like every human in the colonies, Maria Santos was a military officer. The terrified Governor Act was just another layer of the deception that had fooled the galaxy for 50 years. In the colony's underground command center, Admiral Elena Vasquez stood before a holographic display showing the Korthak fleet positions. She was no longer wearing a merchant's uniform. Instead, she wore the black and silver of the Human Defense Force, the military organization that officially didn't exist. All reconnaissance ships in the system, drop your masks, she ordered. It's time to show them what total war looks like. Across the New Geneva system, 40 civilian vessels began to change. Cargo haulers shed their outer hulls to reveal sleek warships bristling with weapons. Passenger transports transformed into attack cruisers with adaptive shielding. The supposedly helpless human colony had just become the most dangerous trap in galactic history. On the Eternal Conquest, alarms began screaming as the tactical displays went insane. Sir, the human ships are changing configuration. The tactical officer shouted in panic. I'm reading massive energy spikes from all vessels. Zefka stared at the display in disbelief. The primitive cargo ships were revealing themselves as advanced warships with technology signatures he had never seen before. How is this possible? His answer came in the form of weapons fire unlike anything the Korthak had ever encountered. The human ships opened fire with quantum disruption cannons that tore through alien shields like they were made of paper. Phase shift torpedoes appeared inside enemy vessels, detonating their fusion cores from within. Adaptive AI systems targeted the weakest points of Korthak ships with surgical precision. The first wave of alien dreadnoughts simply ceased to exist, their massive hulls vaporized by weapons that shouldn't have been possible. The humans were using technology that was centuries ahead of anything in the Korthak databases. All ships evasive maneuvers, Zefka screamed, but it was already too late. The human vessels were moving with impossible speed and agility, their phase shift drives allowing them to appear and disappear at will. Every time the Korthak tried to target them, the human ship simply shifted out of normal space-time and reappeared behind them. Captain Roberto Santos, Elena's former chief engineer, was now commanding the assault cruiser Hidden Fury. His ship materialized directly beneath a Korthak battleship and unleashed a full broadside at point-blank range. The alien vessel split in half, its crew never knowing what had killed them. This is for everyone who died when you attacked our first colonies, Roberto said quietly as he watched the alien ship burn. The battle, if it could even be called that, lasted exactly 17 minutes. When it was over, the Korthak invasion fleet had been completely destroyed. Not a single human vessel had taken damage. The aliens had discovered too late that they weren't fighting primitive traders. They were facing the most advanced military force in the galaxy. But the destruction of the Korthak fleet at New Geneva was just the beginning. Throughout the galaxy, similar scenes were playing out as humanity's true military revealed itself. Admiral Marcus Chen stood in his command center on Kepler Station, watching as reports flooded in from across known space. Report from the Rigel sector, announced Intelligence Officer Sarah Kim. The Korthak Third Fleet has been eliminated. Our forces are advancing on their supply bases. Vega sector reports complete success, added another officer. Enemy resistance has collapsed. We're beginning occupation of their industrial worlds. Centauri front confirms total victory. The Korthak home fleet is destroyed. Admiral Chen watched the tactical displays with grim satisfaction. Operation Revelation was proceeding, exactly as planned. For 50 years, humanity had been preparing for this moment. Now they were demonstrating why their species had earned the right to exist in a hostile galaxy. Sir, We're receiving surrender requests from 17 Korthak worlds, Sarah reported. They're offering unconditional capitulation. Tell them, we don't accept surrenders, Chen replied coldly. They chose to attack human colonies, now they face the consequences. The admiral turned to address his senior staff. Gentlemen, ladies, the Korthak Empire has officially ceased to exist. But this is about more than revenge. This is about sending a message to every species in the galaxy. On the bridge of the peaceful dawn, Captain Elena Vasquez was no longer pretending to be a merchant. Her ship had revealed its true nature as a command vessel, coordinating the complete annihilation of Korthak forces across their empire. The aliens who had once viewed humans as primitive traders were now discovering the true meaning of terror. Ma'am, we're receiving transmissions from the Korthak homeworld, Communications Officer Janet Wong reported. They're begging for mercy. Elena's expression remained cold. The time for mercy was before they decided to enslave human colonies. Continue the assault. The quantum bombardment of the Korthak homeworld was visible from 3 star systems away. The aliens had built their capital on a world with a population of over 2 billion. Now that world was a glowing cinder, its civilization erased in a matter of hours. But humanity's demonstration of total war wasn't just about the Korthak. Hidden sensors throughout the galaxy were recording everything, broadcasting the destruction to every alien civilization that had ever considered humans to be primitive or weak. The message was clear. Underestimate humanity at your own peril, Emperor. Vex Thule of the Dominion Alliance watched the reports from his palace on Andromeca Prime. His species had been considering an expansion into human space, viewing the Earth colonies as easy targets for conquest. Now he stared at intelligence reports that showed the complete destruction of the Korthak Empire in less than 72 hours. How many ships did the humans lose in this campaign? He asked his military advisors. According to our sensors, Your Majesty, none. The humans suffered no casualties at all. The Emperor's blood ran cold. The Korthak had been one of the most powerful military forces in the galaxy, and humanity had destroyed them without losing a single vessel. What kind of monsters had been hiding behind the facade of peaceful traders? Similar conversations were taking place on every alien world as the galaxy's power structures collapsed overnight. Species that had ruled star systems for millennia were suddenly re-evaluating their position in the cosmic order. Admiral Chen stood before the Galactic communications array as he prepared to address every civilized world in known space. His message would be broadcast simultaneously to over 300 alien governments, ensuring that humanity's new position would be clearly understood. To all species currently receiving this transmission, he began, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had just demonstrated the power to destroy entire civilizations. I am Admiral Marcus Chen of the Human Defense Force. For the past 50 years, we have operated among you under the guise of peaceful merchants and explorers. That deception is now over. The holographic displays around him showed the strategic positions of human forces throughout the galaxy. What had appeared to be scattered trading posts and exploration bases were revealed as military installations connected by a network of hidden supply lines and communication relays. The Korthak Empire made the mistake of attacking human colonies. They believed us to be primitive and defenseless. As you have witnessed, they were incorrect. Their empire no longer exists. Images of the destroyed Korthak fleet filled the transmission, showing the complete devastation that humanity's military could unleash when provoked. We have no desire to conquer or rule over other species, Chen continued. But we will never again allow ourselves to be seen as weak or vulnerable. Any civilization that threatens human settlements will face total annihilation. The broadcast ended with a simple statement that would echo through galactic history. Never again will humanity be underestimated. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy's political landscape changed forever. Trade routes were rerouted to avoid offending human sensibilities. Military buildups were abandoned as species realized they could never match humanity's technological superiority. Diplomatic missions rushed to establish friendly relations with Earth, offering tribute and alliance agreements. Captain Elena Vasquez returned to her role as a merchant captain, but now her ship was openly displayed as a military vessel. The Peaceful Dawn patrolled human space with its true capabilities visible to all, a reminder of what lay beneath humanity's civilized exterior. On Kepler Station, Admiral Chen reviewed the final reports from Operation Revelation. The Korthak Empire had been completely eliminated, their worlds either destroyed or occupied by human forces. More importantly, the demonstration had achieved its strategic objective. No alien civilization would ever again view humanity as an easy target. "Sir," Sarah Kim reported, "we're receiving diplomatic overtures from 47 different species. They all want to establish formal treaties with Earth." "Tell them we'll consider their proposals," Chen replied, "but make it clear that any treaty violations will be met with the same response the Korthak received." The Admiral looked out at the stars, knowing that humanity had finally taken its rightful place in the galaxy. They had spent 50 years hiding their strength, allowing other species to underestimate them while they prepared for the inevitable conflict. Now the galaxy knew the truth. Humanity was not a primitive species struggling to survive among more advanced civilizations. They were the apex predators of known space, and they had just demonstrated what happened to those who threatened their young. The mask had fallen. The galaxy would never be the same. As Elena Vasquez stood on her bridge, watching the stars stream past at faster than light speeds, she thought about the colonists on New Geneva who were rebuilding their lives in safety. They would never have to fear alien raiders or slavers again. Neither would any other human settlement. The price of that security had been the complete destruction of an entire alien empire, but Elena felt no remorse. The Korthak had chosen their fate when they decided to prey on what they believed were defenseless humans. Now every species in the galaxy understood the same truth that had driven humanity's secret preparations for half a century. Never again would they allow themselves to be victims. Never again would they be underestimated. The galaxy's age of human dominance had begun.